I've spent a little while, a couple of hours working on something that looks promising, but it doesn't show correctly in editor, as you can see. That's probably fixable. Essentially it's this. You've got a little panel here, so this would be, you know, a panel on a control stick or whatever. Control stick, you know what I'm saying? An OCARS panel. You can hover over the events, hover over the buttons. You get a little hover sound and they go red, or they fade red. See? And then when you click them, yeah, I mean that's literally all it does at the moment. A couple of benefits of this. The buttons themselves are white. They don't have any colour in them, which allows us to specify the colour. At the moment, it's kind of hard-coded. They start blue, and we have these events, or rather animations, that are currently, they take 0.15 seconds to happen, and we're basically lerping between, you know, on the hover animation, we're lerping between blue, which is nothing's happening, to, oh, I've just hovered, go red. When we're pressing, we're under the assumption that we're already hovering, because you can't press on something if you're not hovering it, so we're going from red to green. So the colours aren't in the texture. They're done here in the animation. In the buttons that we would be using, this text here, KO4 or whatever it is, this wouldn't be on the graphic. This would be, I don't know, just a piece of text that you stick over the top. So that's how the animations are done. Really simple stuff, you know. When hovered, play the animation, and then play this noise. Wonderfully provided by Mr. Patrick. And then when pressed, play the press animation and play this noise. Now, the way I've done it is that the buttons themselves are a sub-widget. WPP, BBP, underscore modular button. The COM scanner itself is really simple. It just has a background image, which is the COM scanner backplate, which is that. And then we're sticking the buttons in place. Now, we don't need to do much in the way of logic here. The only thing we really need to do is to change the graphic and the size of the buttons. So, for example, we've got all of these examples of modular button. When you look at it, the only things that I can see that we would really want to do here until we make it more advanced are change the texture. So, as an example, you know, like that. What was it before? Crap. It's the one that started with K. That one. We can change the texture, which of course is white, but starts blue because of the animation and then fades to green and red, and the scale. So, for example, this here isn't the default 512 by 512, but because the modular button is specified to use 512 by 512, we have to specify the scale here, 0.72, 0.18. So 0.3 would make it do that, obviously. So, yeah, all pretty simple stuff. I haven't yet worked out how to deal with these intersections, you know, overlaps between the buttons. You can resolve this with a Z order, but that doesn't really help us because which one gets priority on the Z order? You know, that kind of stuff. But it all seems to work. All of the logic for the buttons would go in button. We would change the texture for the button in the parent. We would probably also want to specify the colours, because not every button is the same colour, but it doesn't currently do that. And we want to specify what happens when you press the button. So triggering an event would, I think, we would have the logic for it in the button itself. So on pressed, do a thing. But then in the parent, that would be a variable that we would select here. You know that thing you told me to do? Set it here. That's basically it. I think this will work really well. What I really like about widgets is we can do some really cool stuff. I'm tempted to... I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get rid of the backplate. I'm going to set the colour to white, to black. So essentially, to make more panels, it's like it doesn't like that. I found it broke. I made it broke. Let's put that there. We'll duplicate those. We'll duplicate that. We'll have another button here. And we'll duplicate that one. See, this is all that would be involved in making new panels. So here we go. My well-designed panel. Save it, compile it, and let's have a look at what we've got now. Oh, look. So this is what I was saying the other day about having... There's a problem with the blue. The blue keeps going wrong, but I'm not worried about that. A library of buttons that we lay out in a panel, and they all respond and interact to events. So, yeah, a simple thing, but I think as a proof of concept, it works. And we could probably expand on it from here. But this is how we would make interactive consoles. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Have a nice evening. And all that.